Hello and good day to everyone. Today, we Group 6 will be presenting about the leadership lessons that we have learned from the movie 300. Our group comprises of me, Syed Faizan Ahmed, as well as my teammates Ashe, Hiba, Shelston, Winky, and Abdul Rahman. Children, gather round. No retreat, no surrender. That is Spartan lore. And by Spartan law, we will stand and fight and die. A new age has begun, an age of freedom, and all will know that 300 Spartans gave their last breath to defend it. Now, wasn't that something? Well, these are not my words. These are the words of King Leonidas as he inspired his men into war, knowing that all odds were against them. Let me take you back in time to the year 480 BC, set in the lands of ancient Greece. The kingdom of Sparta, known for their bravery and strength, were threatened by the invasion of the Persian army led by the autocrat Xerxes, whose quest for world domination had brought him to the steppes of Sparta. Here he would face his strongest challenge yet in the form of King Leonidas and his army of 300 men. Spartans, known for their bravery, did not shy away from battle, but instead embraced it. These are the two leaders that we have identified who display contrasting styles of leadership. One being the people's leader in King Leonidas, and on the other side, Xerxes, the autocrat, self claimed god and ruler of all men. The first style identified is that of situational leadership, and this is displayed multiple times by King Leonidas. The best way to explain this will be to take the example of two Spartans, Dilios and Ephialtes. A good situational leader is one who has the skills required to effectively delegate authority to team members as appropriate. The king knew that Dilios was too involved in the war, and thus assigned him the task of going to other Greek cities where he could raise support against the Persian army. He was able to effectively recognize his strength and delegate accordingly. Next is the ugly side. Now, these are not my words, but words used to describe Ephialtes. Spartans are rigorously trained, and shields are essential to their battle style. Hence, when Ephialtes offered help and hinted of a different path that can be used to attack, Leonidas had no choice but to reject this help as they could not use the shields on this path. This shows he is aware of the morale and needs of his team and makes decisions that is best for them. As the name suggests, a situational leader is also one who is able to analyze the situation that he is in and make tough calls accordingly. King Leonidas showcases this particular strength of his multiple times during the battle, particularly when he employs the phalanx formation using shields, because of which none of the Persians could penetrate their defense. My team members will further discuss on King Leonidas and his style of leadership. Thank you.
Transformational leaders are leaders that have very ambitious goals, and they live up to these high standards that they set. They do this by encouraging their team. In the movie 300, King Leonidas does that by motivating his warriors. He focuses on goals that are bigger than just his own. Even though he's the king, he doesn't focus on his own victory, but the Spartan victory is what holds importance to him. This is why the warriors had to go through training from such a young age, just so that they can accomplish the impossible. This scene is from when the messenger for King Xerxes arrived in the city of Sparta. When he spoke to the king, he threatened his people with slavery and death. He insulted his wife, Queen Gorgo. King Leonidas did not take that lightly. He killed the messenger, even though that is not what you're supposed to do. For a leader such as the king, it was impossible to stay quiet. This showed how much he cared for his wife and for his people, that he couldn't stand anybody threatening them. King Leonidas is influential because he didn't get an army to just follow him for the reason that leaders used to do at that time. They didn't fear him, they didn't want anything from him in return for following him. They followed him because he was one of them. Leonidas was running through the battlefield amongst each one of those men. He led from the front. The king did not use his position of power to influence his men. Instead, he impressed them. He showed them honesty, intelligence, courage, passion. Leonidas was born into that life, training to be the greatest warrior from such a young age. He never let that get to his head. He was no different from any of the other men that were supporting him. His sacrifice demonstrated Sparta's willingness to sacrifice itself for the protection of Greece. It reminds us that we always have to fight for what we believe. The way he led his men is also a way that we need to implement into our own life. Everybody has their own passion, and King Leonidas shows that you should always fight for whatever your passion is, even when it seems like there's no hope left at all.
No retreat, no surrender. That is Spartan law. King Leonidas, the legendary Spartan king, rose to prominence during the Battle of Thermopylae in 480 BCE. Despite facing overwhelming odds, he and his 300 Spartan warriors stood firm against the mighty Persian army. Showing bravery, resilience, and leadership, King Leonidas set high standards for performance and exhibited a relentless drive for excellence. He leads by example, often pushing himself and his army of 300 to achieve ambitious goals. Leonidas was driven by a deep sense of duty towards his people and his homeland of Sparta. As king, he bore the responsibility of protecting Sparta from external threats. This sense of duty motivated him to take decisive actions against the Persian invasion. Even though he knew the odds were stacked against him, King Leonidas' self-motivation stemmed from a combination of personal values, cultural norms, leadership, responsibility, and a strong sense of identity with his people. Leonidas communicated his orders directly and clearly to his soldiers, leaving no room for ambiguity or misunderstandings. He articulated his expectations and objectives in a straightforward manner, ensuring that his troops understand their roles and responsibilities. And even before battles, Leonidas conducted strategic briefings to outline the objectives, tactics, and potential challenges. King Leonidas pioneered new military tactics and strategy, especially during the Battle of Thermopylae. His use of narrow mountain passes and flank formation against much larger enemy forces showcased his strategic excellence, influencing future military leaders and tactics. Leonidas' unwavering courage and resilience in the face of overwhelming odds set a standard for leadership in times of crisis. His willingness to sacrifice himself and his men for the greater good became legendary, inspiring countless leaders throughout the history to display similar bravery in the face of adversity. In conclusion, King Leonidas' pace-setting leadership style serves as a timeless example of courage, determination, and excellence.
Hello, I'm discussing servant leadership style in 300 using Leonidas as the example. Firstly, I'll start off by describing what servant leadership is. Servant leadership style is a style of leadership whereby the leader leads by an example. He puts the goals, ambitions, and values of the teams at the forefront and avoids his own personal goals. How did Leonidas in the movie display this leadership style? In the image that's displayed in the slide, it seems like he's trying to surrender to the to the Persian conqueror that's trying to take over Sparta, but he is only kneeling to act as a decoy, so one of his soldiers can step on him and try to kill Xerxes. Unfortunately, that didn't work out for them. But the main point that I'm trying to pick out is like the selflessness he had to like go there and kneel and allow one of his soldiers like to to climb over him. I mean, he's a king, so that's that's very surprising. Like no king in like no leader in today's world will try to like confront the conqueror and like allow his soldier to step over them and try to kill that they'll just designate the role and assign it to someone. They won't try to do that themselves. um the impact of this leadership style from the soldier's point of view, like seeing someone willing to like sacrifice to seeing the leader, not just anybody, seeing the leader trying to sacrifice himself so that their beliefs can outlast them is like it's very inspiring. There's no it creates motivation and fosters unity among the men in the battalion and ensure that everybody is on the same page. Thank you.
So before we dive into another main character, let me ask you, have you ever wondered what it takes to be a leader? What qualities and approach make a leader truly effective? Now I'm going to dissect the autocratic leadership style of Xerxes. Imagine, if you will, the grandeur of Athens precious with its golden palace and mighty armies. You can see the pictures of Xerxes, standing tall and powerful, commanding the attention of all who surround him. His autocratic leadership style is written on his face, a testament to his unwavering belief in his own superiority. So, what is autocratic leadership style? It means that someone who is making the decision without consulting their team members, even if their input would be favorable. Now, let's travel back in time to the Battle of Thermopylae. Where King Leonidas and his brave Spartan army stood as unstoppable force against the invading Persians, the Spartans, with their unwavering determination and skills, defied all expectation. But what role did Xerxes, with his autocratic leadership, played in this historic clash? From this video, even he knew how strong of Spartan army, he persisted in ordering wave after wave of his troops to charge and ignore the mountain lost. The immense power and controls he possessed are unquestionable, but we must question the price paid. The life of his soldiers and the mountain lost are all sacrificed in the pursuit of his unwavering belief in his own superiority. Now let's imagine ourselves as soldiers in Xerxes' army. Let's close your eyes and feel the fear and uncertainty that grabs their hearts as they charged into the battle, compelled not by loyalty or shared purpose, but by the icon rules of an autocratic leader. Now open your eyes and consider the consequence of such leadership on team morale and unity. So, by looking at the autocratic leadership style of Xerxes, let us remember that leadership is not just about authority and control. It is about fostering a sense of unity, empathy, and shared purpose with a team.
My wife. My love.
Leonidas was not only a leader, but an inspiration to many generations. His valor transcended time, igniting the flame of courage in the hearts of those who followed. His legacy, etched in history, serves as a beacon guiding us through the darkest of battles, reminding us that true strength lies in unity and sacrifice. Let's look at some of the reflections that we were able to learn from this movie. From the epic tale of King Leonidas and the 300 Spartans, we draw multiple lessons. Leonidas' charisma wasn't just about charm, it was his ability to connect with his men on a profound level, inspiring them to stand against impossible odds. This teaches us the power of influence and the importance of inspiring others in the leadership roles today. His selflessness was evident as he put his life on the line for his people. They showcase that putting the needs of the community before our own, fostering a society where sacrifice for the greater good is valued and honored. Adaptability was the key to the Spartan strategy. They were vastly outnumbered but used their environment to their advantage. Similarly, in today's fast paced world, the ability to pivot and embrace change is crucial for survival and success. Courage, the most celebrated Spartan virtue, is as vital now as it was then. It is the courage to stand up for what's right, to innovate, and to face the unknown. Leonidas' legacy shows us that bravery isn't the absence of fear, but the will to act despite it. These reflections from the past shape our present, guiding us to lead with charisma, act with selflessness, adapt with agility, and live with courage. In the spirit of Leonidas and his 300, let us carry forward the torch of their virtues, illuminating a path and empowering us to forge a future as valiant as a past. This concludes what we have learned from the movie 300. Thank you.